Hey, it's your boy Jayhardcore, Hardcore Boxing News, coming back at you with another boxing segment of news, letting you know what's going on in the industry. And first person we going with is Adrien, the Problem Broner. Broner was on the Porterway podcast yesterday evening and pretty much just was spilling the tea, man, about PBC. Yes. I was surprised as well. Well, no, I wasn't surprised. Don't let me say that. But Broner was pretty much talking about how they was negotiating with PBC, and PBC was pretty much saying for the type of fight that you want, for the type of money you want, the type of fight that you're going to get. He said, man, they wanted me to fight Godzilla. And my coach, he's more than just a coach. He's not the type of coach that just sits back and takes anything. He was like, nah, my guy ain't going to do that. We're going to have to seek some other options. And when he did so, 3 days later, he got back with Broner and said, hey, I got something for you. So pretty much, you had that one guy saying, hey, you can get this bag, but you don't have to fight Godzilla. And he said, no disrespect to Al Heyman and Espinoza and PBC, but BLK Prime came a different way. BLK Prime said, hey, I'm going to give you a 3-fight deal for 8 figures, and you get to pick who you want to fight. Broner said you don't get that type of deal in boxing these days. He said you'll be able to pick whoever you want to fight. And he said he really had to make a decision, which wasn't hard whatsoever. But he said in PBC, things were getting kind of shady. And since things was getting shady in PBC, he wanted to move forward. He was like, people were sitting on the shelf. He brought up Jamel Charlo. Said Charlo's been sitting on the shelf for 18 months, and there's just so many other people that have been sitting on the shelf so long. So he decided to move on to BLK Prime, man. He was like, man, it was just getting shady over there at PBC. So he moved forward, and he said it just seems so much different over there. Things are great, and he wants to be undisputed in the 140 division. Whereas he said within the next 2 fights, he will be champion of the world again. So he's fighting Redcatch next, and most likely it looks like he'll be fighting Regis Prograis. And he says after he take care of Prograis, then he gonna knock off the rest of them, and then he'll be finished with boxing. Now pretty much he said a 3-fight deal that he got pretty much is gonna set him. So that's Broner for you right there. Broner says that PBC is not the place that you need to be right now. Moving on. Bud Crawford on Twitter sent Earl Spence a tweet and asked him, is he going to spin around the block again? Because he there. And a lot of people got confused because he spelled spin, S-P-E-N-D, like you spending your money. So I guess that was just a misspelling of words. We haven't got any anything back from the Spence camp in reference to Bud's tweet. But at least Bud is actually active now, talking in the, doing media. And that's so important because he wasn't doing media before. So I'm happy about that. And he's showing initiative that he still wants to fight. And I like that. I really like that. And I think that they might even be already talking because, you got to listen to the little tidbits. When Spence was at the Frank Martin event. He said that, due to the accident, he wouldn't be coming back until April or May. And then Crawford had an interview as well, and he said that he probably won't be fighting till April or May. So call it coincidence, or maybe the camps are talking. These days you never know, because they say the best negotiations are the silent ones. When you hear too much of it in the media, this says that, this says that's what normally kills the deal. So hopefully things are being worked out in the background, and we'll know. So speaking of Spence responded back about Manny Pacquiao, saying he wants to fight him. And Spence said, you know what? I don't want to fight Manny Pacquiao. And I guess he was insinuating that he would really hurt Pacquiao real bad. And he actually says it's just like when Larry Holmes fought Ali, and Ali was in the back of his career at that point, and Holmes beat him up real bad. And he said, you know what, he feels though that's the reason why you don't hear about Holmes as much, because Ali is the greatest, and people felt though that he took advantage of Ali because he fought him in his twilight of his career and really took no mercy out on him. Because one thing about Larry Holmes could fight, man. They called him the Eastern Assassin, and he had a jab, man, that was second to none. One good thing I can say about what came out of him boxing is he became a very good businessman, and he was doing real estate, and probably still is doing real estate and everything. I remember one time he owned a building, man, that he was renting. It was one of them high buildings, and he had a bank renting from him, so shout outs to Larry Holmes. He's doing his thing. He's not one of the boxers, man, that end up being broke at the end of his career like a lot of the old timers have. So, I'm glad that at least, he got money, and, he doesn't get a lot of recognition like he should get, because I really think he should get a lot of recognition. All right, so next I think I want to do the fight of the year, the prospect of the year, the fighter of the year, and the KO of the year. I'm going to do that one, and once we do that, I'll be out of here. I'm trying to keep it a little bit more shorter for you all, because you know me, I can go on and on and on, because I just love this sport. The fight of the year, I was like, you know what, to be truthfully honest, the fight of the year for me was Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Man, that was like Ali and George Foreman all over again. You had the crafty, slick boxer opposed to the sludge hammer that's coming out just trying to knock your head off. But they always says that the boxer normally beats the brawler. But I tell you what, that was a good fight. A fight I wouldn't mind seeing again. And actually, Marshall activated her rematch clause. But her promoter said it's not going to happen like instant. He wants her to have 1 or 2 more fights before he go back at Shields, which is pretty smart because she is the GOAT. So that's my fight of the year. If I had to do a men's one, I would say Lubin and Fondor. Man, that was a slug out, man. They was knocking each other down and getting back up, fighting. I mean, them the type of fights I like, man. I mean, I love a good technical fight too. But sometimes you just want some rock'em sock'em robots, and they just go at it, and man, blood, everything. I guess I'm taking it back to the Roman days again, boy. Sometimes you want to see blood, and that's crazy. Let me shut up. But man, Lubin was so disfigured. Man, he looked like a total different guy after that fight. So I would say that one was number 2 for me, fight of the year. Upset of the year. I would say upset of the year was Hector Garcia versus Chris Colbert. Hector Garcia was 25-1 in that particular fight, man. They had no thought or any inkling that this kid was going to beat Chris Colbert. And Chris Colbert is coming off just a undefeated run, and slick, and, you know, purple hair, and I mean, you know, he just had all the optics, and he could fight and everything. But that meant nothing to Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia came in there, man, and commanded the fight from beginning to end. So that's my upset of the year. I know some other people will say Bivol versus Canelo, but at that time they had Bivol at 2-1. So, Canelo at 2-1. So it was a possibility. They felt that Bivol would beat him. Now, speaking of prospects of the year, I'm going to give that Keyshawn Davis. Ever since he came back from the Olympics, he's been really doing his thing. He stays in your face. You know about him. You know who he is, and he can fight. And he putting hands on people. His last fight, he didn't get the knockdown, but his fighting, his technique, everything was superb. I loved it. I think he's a good kid, and I think he's going to do a lot in the industry. So that's my prospect of the year. My fight of the year. I'm going to give it to Bivol. I love the kid Bivol, man. I mean, from the beginning, I knew he was going to beat Canelo. You know, I told my son, they laughed at me, yada, yada, yada. But my son said he was at a fight party. And when it happened, he was like, damn, Dad said he was going to win too. But Bivol handled it, man. And he wasn't starstruck or anything like that. And he worked that jab, man. And he just did his thing that night, man. Like a he fought like a seasoned vet, you know, and just knew what he had to do. Then turned right back around and fought an undefeated fighter. And that everybody thought that was going to get him. Well, no. I guess they thought it was 50-50. But Bivol did it again with no problem. None at all. Winning from the beginning all the way to the end. So my fighter of the year is Bivol. Last but not least, what we all love is the KO of the year. My KO of the year is Caleb Plant knocking out Anthony Dirrell. I mean, nobody expected that was going to happen. I know I didn't. And if you did, wow, you should have bet that, and you should have a lot of money. Man, he was boxing perfectly. He was doing his thing, man. And you know how Anthony Dirrell is. He a dog. I mean, that's what he called himself. And there ain't no quits in him. But man, when Bivol caught him, when Caleb Plant caught him, wow. And then he took the shovel and buried him. Oh my goodness. He buried him. Plant, then bury. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? This your boy Jayhardcore, Hardcore Boxing News. Getting out of here. Make sure you please follow us. Make sure that you subscribe to YouTube. Let's make this show go further. Let's get the algorithms moving. It's your boy Jayhardcore. Love you all. I'm out of here.